The Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try the freshly prepared, legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Welcome back, everybody, to Simtrax Broadcasting. We're here with the Doghouse Racing League. Would like to give a special shout out there to Shoney's and Next Level Racing, the sponsors of the league. But tonight's race will be sponsored by the Back in Blue. That, of course, being the Back in Blue 180 here tonight with the Next Gen Cup Series. And we are seeing qualifying underway. Nicholas Atwood doing a little bit here. Kevin Thompson's, we're seeing him finish up his final lap here. Right now sitting 8th, holding the top of the chart is Chris Leftwich at this moment with a 38.19 out there on the track, so he'll be leading the charge before we get going here. A couple drivers still have some time to get underway. I'm sure Jonathan Jennings in the 91 Chevrolet Caterpillar machine is looking to get onto the pole here tonight. He's going to be pushing really, really hard as we have been watching, and I'm sure Tyler Mollett is going to come into the screen here later on here tonight in his Chevrolet to try to see if they can stop Jonathan Jennings' roll here in the Doghouse Racing League. Joining me alongside me tonight is Douglas Ross, and I appreciate you joining me, man, at Michigan International Speedway. And talk to me a little bit about this 2-mile track.
Well, this 2-mile track, most definitely, I could tell you this. We might be seeing these cars almost hit close to 200 miles an hour when you do include the draft. And we will be seeing a lot of drafting here. A lot of drivers are probably going to maybe even take it close to 3, maybe even 4 wide going on the front and back straightaways, because these straightaways are so long. It's easily to pass somebody, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that does end up happening. 90 laps, 3 sets of tires on the pit, 70% fuel limit, and of course, absolutely no fast repairs. But that 101-degree track temperature, beautiful here for that track. You know, these guys, I expect to see them dropping off the table right where we're looking at right now at the start-finish line, probably dropping below that white line to squeak just a little bit extra over top of everybody else to pick up a couple extra positions. But it looks like Chris Leftwich with 15 seconds left in qualifying, is going to take away the pole here tonight. Christopher Simon will be second. So finally, Toyota comes out on top. Most of the records held here at Michigan are held actually by Fords. The only Ford I see here in the top 10 is held by Gary Clune in the number 11, which we'll get right to that as we get ready for our starting grid here for tonight, waiting for the pace car to go ahead and get his butt out there onto the track. The banking here at the turns, we are definitely able to see 3 and 4 wide racing. I can't wait to see who in the world is going to be able to pull a rabbit out of their hat to win this race. When you get to a super speedway style kind of race and angle that these guys are going to be, it's hard to determine low line, midline, high line, and then some guys actually make a line out there on the track. But let's go ahead and take a look at our starting grid here for tonight. Christopher Leftwich and Christopher Simon starting in the row number 1. Row number 2 will be with Tyler Mollett and Mike Samia, followed by row 3, where Daniel Wilkerson comes in next to Bill Gentry. Gary Clune with Twisted Axle Racing here. Jonathan Jennings will be 8th, and that's going to be looking pretty good. Solid start for him here tonight. Gary Armijo will be starting on the inside of row number 5, and on the outside will be Nicholas Atwood.
Spot number 11 will be Kevin Thompson. Spot number 12 will be Mike Leftwich. Spot number 13 will be Stephen Bonomo. Starting at spot number 14 will be Ricky Williams. And spot number 15 will be Mark Dumont. Starting at spot number 16 will be Richard Leclerc. Spot number 17 will be Justin McMahon. Spot number 18 will be Michael Dow. And 3 cars not taking qualifying positions or qualifying times, I should say, will be in the last 3 spots, which will be Eric Warman in the number 19th spot, Duke Davis in the number 20 spot, and rounding out the field will be Kevin Powell.
Yeah, very odd spot for Kevin Powell to be starting so far back in this pack. We'll see if he's able to take behind the wheel. I don't know if he's having any sort of trouble out there on the track. I know he's having probably some electrical issues right now in that 93 Chevrolet. No can do for him, but drivers are getting locked and loaded here down pit road. Pace car is already on the move here as these guys get their formation lap underway. Can't wait to see what they all have in store for us here. I would probably say money is going to go toward Jonathan Jennings on this one, but Douglas, the way we're looking at it here, and the points race coming up, this is huge right now for some of the drivers that are sitting here at this point in time. Let's take a look as Andrew St. Couer is leading this one by a slim margin, and you wouldn't believe who's not taking the course or the car here tonight. Right now, Andrew St. Couer is a starting park tonight. Our points leader is not here tonight. So Jonathan Jennings will most likely sling into first, followed by Christopher Simon, depending on Kevin Thompson's placement here tonight, as he sits 4th and Daniel Wilkerson is 5th in this running. So right now, Twisted Axle Racing with a huge gut punch here with Andrew St. Couer not showing up. And I know Andrew St. Couer would love to be here. I'm sure he's got some things going on outside of racing, but this is going to be huge for his team, having a huge shot here. And actually, this may be taken away. And right now, I've seen Jonathan Jennings win not 1, not 2, but now 3 different leagues of the Doghouse Racing League where he has capitalized, none other than the Legends. He also races in the trucks, and if you remember last season, Jonathan Jennings took it away on the last season. So let's see what he can do this season, as his times have been fantastic. He'll be starting 8th, but Christopher Leftwich and Christopher Simon, front row, away we go. The Shoney's Racing Team leading us to the back in blue 180, lap number 1 underway here in the front. Right now, Christopher Simon's Toyota filing behind Chris Leftwich here, and no pressure but Tyler Mollett. Here he comes on the bottom line, and right now we are already 3 wide. Jonathan Jennings sending it full send here in the back. Looks like he's going to try to squeeze away and get out of that situation. And Douglas, we're already looking pretty good halfway through the lap number 1.
We are definitely looking good through right now going into 3. We do have a couple of battles going on right now towards the front, and I think that's spots numbers 2 and 3 right now doing battle. That would be Christopher Simon and Tyler Mollett. Mollett down to the inside, using up that whole entire white line to try and gain some momentum, but Simon's got a big momentum on the outside, and right behind them trying to make a move is Michael Samia in the 3.
I know, do want to give a shout out there to Richard Leclerc, dropping down 4 positions, down to 20th right now. Not a good start for him. May have slipped heading through a couple of turns. I'm looking for Kevin Thompson, who's actually floating around back here, with Gary Clune and the number 20 machine of Gary Armijo. So we got a couple of Chris's together. We got a couple of Garys together. I'm getting a little nervous here. Who's who when they're side by side? But we are starting a single file already here with Christopher Leftwich in the lead, followed by Christopher Simon. Michael Samia's picked up a position. Tyler Millette almost had the position, but gave it up, moving himself down to 4th. Bill Gentry's picked up a spot. And person on the move, 3 positions up, is Nicholas Atwood, sitting here in the 19 Chevrolet. But we have all Chevrolets here, mostly in the top 10. Christopher Simon's Toyota sitting 2nd. Gary Clune and Kevin Thompson's Ford are sitting 9 and 10. So right now, Chevy's commanding the charge here as they are leading already through 1, 2, and now 3 laps as Christopher Leftwich takes lap number 3, starting 4. We're looking at Jonathan Jennings looking here underneath the 34 of Bill Gentry, and we've already got a bunch of battles here up in the front where Michael Samia has dropped down to the bottom and trying to see if he can get just a little more as he's going to overcome Tyler Mollette's battle on the outside again. He's going to hold him off. They kind of put that car into the wall. Yeah, try to squeeze him up toward the top, but Mollett having the help from Christopher Simon, and no downforce to the nose of his car is going to allow him to squeeze on through. And right now, fastest on the track here, Douglas, is Jonathan Jennings with a 38.63.
Jennings definitely trying to make some moves early in the race as he is right now trying to settle into the outside line. Looks like that right in front of him will be Tyler Mollett. So a couple of drivers right now trying to ride the high lane, and also when it comes to tire savings mode, the high lane is where you want to be to save those tires, because if you're going to get way too down low, you're going to really cook those tires. So some of these guys may be just trying to ride the high lane and get some heat in those tires, so that makes some moves maybe earlier in the race.
Yeah, as we're riding along here with Jonathan Jennings, you see a quick cutoff there by Nicholas Atwood in the 19. Boy, he's able to definitely fend off that volley he gave him there. Jennings now moves up to 4th, still on a roll here. And I guarantee you right now, Nicholas Atwood's trying to see if he can run the exact same line as Jennings slides himself into 4th, but Jennings still down about 1.4 seconds off pace from what Chris Leftwich is putting down here. Moving on back where Daniel Wilkerson is trying to run down, it looks like Bill Gentry, who Gentry's actually been on the roll backwards, losing 2 positions in the 34 Chevrolet and the 78 machine of Daniel Wilkerson. Here he comes right now, a driver from Loud Pedal Racing, trying to make something happen there in the Reese's machine. We are looking at 90 laps here, Douglas, and right now we got guys kind of really duking it out with each other. You think this one might be a runaway?
I wouldn't suggest considering it a runaway as of yet, because I know a lot of these drivers, one of them being Jonathan Jennings and maybe a couple of others who are trying to gain as much momentum as they can. I think it's way too early to call it a runaway, because I think Jennings wants to get to that spot. He is hungry. And right now he's trying to go for the number 3 spot as he's trying to pass Christopher Simon for spot number 3.
Yeah, on the outside, Jennings goes. He's able to top out at almost 200 miles an hour on the outside line. He's going to use Mollett to his benefit here as he tries to reel him in, but Atwood is going to take right behind him as well as you see him change his mind, get out from away from Christopher Simon, and Simon definitely wishing he had gotten some help here on the low line. I know from experience here at Michigan, riding the low line is definitely hard on the right side tires, and you can't maintain forever. The top side will be superior. As you can see, Nicholas Atwood using just that as he moves himself already up to 4th. Gary Clune's going to follow along, and not too bad. And if I were to kind of point out here, Douglas, the most improved driver I've seen on the track is Gary Clune. Now, last season, he was kind of rolling around in 18th to 21st, maybe that 23rd spot. This guy is consistently top 10, right now running 5th. Fantastic job here by Gary Clune, joining the Twisted Axle Racing team and enjoying the time, learning from these guys and picking up the pace. So I love what I'm seeing out of that 11 Ford here tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. Got to give a a big shout out to Gary Clune. He definitely has been an improved driver ever since I came aboard with you to announce the Doghouse Racing League. It's really been a pleasure to see Gary Clune make some moves out there. And look at this big move we got going right now, Patrick, for spot number 3. It looks like Nicholas Atwood is trying to make the move past Jonathan Jennings for the number 3 spot.
Yeah, that he is doing a great job here as you see him looking toward the inside line. Jonathan Jennings holding toward the top. Now, Jennings has set his car up for some fresh air, but he's going to get a boatload of dirty air as Nicholas Atwood makes the clear here, slides down and in front of him. So, fantastic move here by the 19 Chevrolet of Nicholas Atwood. Right now, I think Jonathan Jennings is kind of biding his time. He's a late race driver, but he's early to get up front. I wonder what in the world Chris Leftwich is doing to lead this field without the draft by a second and a half here. So he is going to be the one to beat, and will any adjustments Chris Leftwich makes be detrimental to the way he's racing here tonight? But as tough as he's being on those tires, it may cost him later on as we see Leftwich go by. And now we're watching second, third, fourth, fifth, and the remainder of the field here. Moving on back where Daniel Wilkerson is. Still time to take a peek around Kevin Thompson. Wilkerson has actually lost 5 positions here in the race so far. Early to say if there's any kind of an adjustment he needs to make down pit road, if it's going to be any better for him as he continues to charge forward here. He's unfortunately been on the roll back, but he has got to figure out how to drum up some speed here as he sits 10th. Rolling on back, Bonomo still remains 13th. Eric Warman is our biggest gainer here so far, other than Nicholas Atwood, who has 7th. Warman is up 5, so the 113 Chevrolet still rolling around back there with Bonomo and Mike Leftwich, who's behind him. Now, Mike Leftwich has been doing a great job there in the points running, but is not going to be too good here, as I believe something has happened here to Mr. Leftwich in the front. Right now, that 1.5 second lead has been cut down to a quarter of a second. I think we've got some right front fender damage. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like he may have clipped the wall here, and it's going to cost him.
Yeah, most definitely. You can definitely see the little bit of damage that he has right there. So that may end up costing him a little bit in the big run. And here we go, change for the lead possibly as Tyler Mollett. Looks like he's going to try and make that move past Leftwich. And right behind him, whoa!
Wow.
Looks like Tyler Mollett got a little bit loose, but managed to retain himself from at least spinning out. That's going to cost him a couple of positions, though, at least 2 or 3 positions, as it looks like we have a new race leader, and that is Mr. Nicholas Atwood.
Yeah, Atwood's still sticking it out front here. The 13 machine of Chris Leftwich trying to get the lead back. I give it to Tyler Mollett for holding on to the wheel there. Those two guys made contact. And definitely Nicholas Atwood looks like he's never going to race again. Going out there and laying it all down here. Going down, touching the paint is Chris Leftwich. And now Jonathan Jennings is finding his time to strike. So close, he's going to give a little shove here to the 13, give him a little push. And 13 needs to make a decision. He's going to slide to the bottom. That's what I expected, as Atwood is going to lose a lot of momentum here as Chris Leftwich is going to slide in front. Quick little crossover. And Nicholas Atwood right back on his tail here as we come to the line.
Yes, most definitely. And Patrick, I can tell you this right now. I don't think this is what Jonathan Jennings was expecting, having a big group of drivers around him and right now like racing him like crazy. I mean, we got everybody all the way down to, I think, 8th place right now in that big group of cars. I think this is something that Jonathan Jennings wasn't expecting to be raced this hard this early.
Yeah, and with you talking about the top 8 drivers, they're all within a second here of the lead. Taking a look off the back of Chris Leftwich here, and I think he's about to be overtaken. Taking a look on the inside, Chris Leftwich, no. As he's getting ready to watch now, Jonathan Jennings overtake. Down to the bottom, fresh air for the 91, and I guarantee you he's going to let go of the reins here, and this thing's about to take off.
Yep, and we got 3 wide going on right now for spot number 2, and it looks like going down the middle was Tyler Mollett, and he made it work. He is now in spot number 2, but he is still trying to fight off a hard-charging Nicholas Atwood, who wants that spot number 2 back. And Atwood's getting really loose going down into the corners. So it looks like Atwood will settle in spot number 3, but maybe not, because right behind him, fighting back, will be the 13 of Christopher Leftwich.
Yeah, great battle here through 3rd through 6th we're seeing as Kevin Thompson actually showing up to fight this one out. He got a huge run coming off 2. He's got another one coming off 4 and gets cut off by Clune. Clune, excellent job kind of stalling out his run there, as he could have been way overtaken with relative ease. Chris Leftwich has now lost 4 places, and it looks like he may lose a 5th as the 21 machine getting a little loose coming out of 2, got the run. Here it comes over top. Let's see if we can find a little bit of a chopper view here and find out what in the world is going on the top. 3 wide heading into 3. Now see if we can rotate on through. Man, what kind of moves these guys are making out here on the track so early into the run, as we are watching a couple of drivers who have come down pit. Mark Dumont is down pit. It looks like Bill Gentry's down a couple of laps here, and Kevin Powell. Kevin Powell's actually out here tonight. Looks like that 93 Chevrolet trying to put down some times. He's going to need something may have happened to him, but unfortunately that is very, very bad for Kevin Powell, and especially the way he's trying to charge forward and get some points here tonight. Nicholas Atwood sitting second. Tyler Millette is third, trying to run down Jonathan Jennings, but Jennings now taking off 3/4 of a second ahead, and Douglas is looking pretty tight here as the top 5 have all settled down.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the drivers are starting to settle down now, going single file all the way down. It looks like all the way back from 11th place on, it looks like they're going to settle in. But actually, no, we might have guessed wrong, because we still got more drivers on the move. And I can tell you another driver that I can see that is currently on the move, who is currently sitting in spot number 5 right now. He's hungry to get to the front. That would be Kevin Thompson in the 21.
Yeah, Kevin Thompson doing a fantastic job here so far, gaining 6 positions in the number 21 Ford. Couer's machine, trying to see if he can get going here. I also want to point out is Kevin Thompson looks to set up a couple of drivers. Stephen Bonomo here sitting 10th. Look at him sitting back behind Gary Armijo and Mike Samia here. He came way loose coming out of turn number 2, but he is definitely wrangling that car in. I'm wondering, as the car gets looser, if he picks up more speed. Now gains 9th place, looking for 8th, so Samia might be under fire here. So another Shoney's driver. Looks like they're going to be marching back fast on the start, fast on the entire track at the beginning. But as the tires wear in and the cars settle in, the track levers up, these cars are making big, big changes, and that's exactly what they're going to have to talk to their crew chief. What big changes they need to do to combat the race conditions that they have right now. Still looking at Mike Samia out in front, as now it looks like, I believe that is Gary Armijo's Toyota sliding underneath. Right now I got 3 Toyotas, Armijo, Bonomo, and Christopher Simon sitting 9, 10, and 11 here, trying to see if we can get some going. And Armijo, out of shape here, drops down to the bottom and drops back to 13th. Fantastic job holding on to the car, but man, he's having a lot of trouble. Let's rotate back up front here, Douglas, as we're looking at Nicholas Atwood sitting 3rd, and Gary Clune is now in 2nd place, up 5 here tonight. That number 11 Ford is still on the move.
Yep, Gary Clune, definitely one of the drivers trying to make some noise here tonight, also along with Nicholas Atwood. 2 drivers that we're normally used to seeing around the mid-pack, but they're up here making some noise. And right now, Kevin Thompson. Thompson looks like he made a move for the number 4 spot. He'll claim the number 4 spot. So now that'll rotate Kevin Thompson up to spot number 4, and Tyler Millette back down to spot number 5.
Excellent racing by our top 5 drivers here as these guys shuffle back and forth. I just can't seem to figure out how this is going to continue on, but as we begin lap number 23, we are looking at Kevin Thompson looking right underneath Nicholas Atwood here. He's getting definitely a mirror full of him now. 21 machine might decide to tuck on behind the 19, but he decides not to. Rides down toward the bottom. Nicholas Atwood staying firm on the top, but can he hold the 21 that's getting ready to merge into his door here as they head down the backstretch? 19 Chevrolet Pepsi machine holds out and keeps Kevin Thompson behind him. Rotating on back, Christopher Simon might be under a little bit of fire here as Ricky Williams and the number 10 machine's on the outside of him. So plenty of great racing here on the track. It's hard to find a perfect spot to be, but we're going to stay here with Simon and right now Ricky Williams in the 10 Chevrolet here, and already still fighting here in the front. Warman and Bonomo here in the 113 machine. Right now with Chevrolets all over the track, but every single one of them trying to get in front of the other.
Fire as of the moment, and right now we have a battle going on here between Stephen Bonomo and Eric Warman. Bonomo right now getting to the top spot, so Steven Bonomo will round out to the number, I believe that's the number 8 spot, away from Eric Warman.
Yeah, Warman gaining 10 positions here, but still a race still being led here by the Elite Southern Motorsports team of Jonathan Jennings. Keep an eye here on Christopher Simon with the Shoney's Racing team. The 27 Toyota still battling along here, and I've got to admit, from a top 5 points driver here, sitting back in 10th spot is not a bad place to be, but he's got to get up really actually a top 5 spot here tonight, as Catalina out there in the chat is saying, good luck, Christopher Simon, we love you. All right, Christopher Simon getting a little shout out there. All right, keep him on moving here. Right now, we're already seeing some shuffling out on the track. Once again, we are seeing a battle between 8th and 9th, a battle between 10th and 11th, and right now I see Gary Armijo after the spin or slide move there on coming out of 2, trying to put his hat back in the ring here again as he's sitting 12th. He's put Mike Samia behind him, and he's going to continue moving on forward because he knows that outside line will hold. He's just got to be confident that he won't smack it off the wall on the outside. But so far, so good, is still Jennings leads this race, and drivers now falling back 2 seconds off pace.
Yeah, right now it is going to get to the point where I probably take it we're going to see probably green flag pit stops soon. I don't know what the range is here for this track. But right now, we have a battle heating up right now for the number 2 spot, and that is between Gary Clune and Kevin Thompson. Thompson right now gave Clune a big, humongous shove into turn number 1, saying, giddy up, let's go. And right now, Gary Clune looks like he'll have a little bit of the edge. But on the back straightaway, Kevin Thompson definitely is gaining more of the speed that he has.
Yeah, I've got to admit, we came in just at the end of the shove. Kevin Thompson looked like he let way off the gas as if Clune had entered way too fast and thought he might get out of shape and he needed to get out of the way. Thompson now sliding underneath him here. Slider. Clune sees it, lets him go on through rather than continuing to press the gas and slam into him there. Boy, definitely that spot number 2 is a hot ticket item as these guys are battling back and forth. So Gary Clune and the mechanics wear 11-4, trying to hold on to a podium position here as Kevin Thompson says, nope, I'm gaining 9 positions now as he slides into second. But remember what I was saying earlier here is the Fords actually hold the most records here at the Michigan International Speedway. So we got definitely speed, we got fast times, we got most led laps, and Jonathan Jennings is trying to put that to rest, saying, you know what, Chevrolets are superior, as he still leads this race here. Obviously, 5 bonus points for leading the race is not enough for him. He wants to get another 5 for leading the most. So far, so good. Through 28 laps as we begin lap 29, we are led by the Chevrolet of Jonathan Jennings. Rotating on back, where's Bonomo on the outside of the 10? Ricky Williams here, and right now, this is great racing here, actually in the back of the pack, as it looks like it's calmed down. In the front, we're looking to see if Mollett over there on the timing is deciding to put any moves on Atwood. Not at the moment, but here is where the battle is. Bonomo, Ricky Williams, and Samia. Mike Samia sitting in the 3 Shoney's machine, down rotating to the bottom in the bright white car, blue rims, trying to see if he can get a little something going here, but I've got to admit, we got a little pit strategy here, and Chris Leftwich is going to be the first one to come down pit and throw some tires on that car. Justin McMahon came down on lap 27, so his 24 Chevrolet is going to have a little bit of work to do. Douglas, how nerve-wracking is it got to be coming down pit alone without having any draft help?
It's definitely going to be a little nerve-wracking to some of these drivers. I mean, when it comes to Michigan, it's not much nerve-wracking, but it's going to be really, really nerve-wracking. And right now, the only 2 drivers that I want to see their strategies, how they're going to work, is Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Thompson. And the only reason why I am saying that is because I think the green flag pit stop strategies are going to be taken into play, because as I'm watching right now, the gap between Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Thompson is shortening. It is shortening little bit by little bit. Last lap it was 1.8, now it's down to 1.6. So the gap is shortening, not by much, but it is shortening, and we're getting around the range of green flag pit stops. This is going to be interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah, we're taking a ride along here with Gary Armijo as we're watching the battle in front of him, still between Bonomo and Ricky Williams. This is doing fantastic. I love seeing the side-by-side racing. These guys overtake, and then they swap back over and then pass each other again. But now it looks like Jennings, Tyler Mollett, Daniel Wilkerson working their way down as it looks like Gary Armijo is going to join him. Whoa, man, he has to whoa it up big time there. Try to see if he can squeeze into pit road without speeding. That means Kevin Thompson is going to be our new leader, followed by Gary Clune, Nicholas Atwood, Eric Warman, and Ricky Williams. Mike Leftwich decides to stay out. He's going to move into 6th place, and Michael Dow will as well, moving up to 7th. So now pit stops are happening, and this is going to be huge. I'm curious to see if anybody decides to take only 2 tires. From what I'm seeing, that would be a big negative. That's everybody's going ahead and throwing tires on, deciding that it is going to be much, much safer to stay fast out on the track. But taking a look at Eric Warman, his time of a 38.71, it was his best time, and his last time being about 40 seconds on the nose. So you cannot sacrifice 1.3 seconds here at this 2-mile track, as drivers are going to have a heck of a time trying to catch back up. Ricky Williams still staying out. 2 drivers who have yet to pit. Williams, Mike, and Mike Leftwich. Both these Chevrolets are staying out on the track, and it's looking pretty sketchy here whether they are going to stay out much longer. Man, I just don't know, as we are already 1/3 of the way through this race. It's pit strategies is got to be top of their chart here of what they've got to do next. They cannot, foul this up here. They've got to get back on the track. They've got to remain fast, and they can't make a mistake here. So Ricky Williams, Mike Leftwich working their way around, and Richard Leclerc, we're going to see how he does. He has yet to pit either. The 117 Chevrolet slowing down here, and that means Jonathan Jennings will resume the lead and ahead by about 4 1/4 seconds off Tyler Mollett. Right now, this looks like to be a runaway.
Yeah, as of right now, it looks like it might be a runaway, and basically, yes, I think there's only 2 drivers left that has to pit, Ricky Williams and Mike Leftwich, if they haven't pitted already. But right now, I'm keeping an eye on Jonathan Jennings, and probably who will be the new 2nd place guy once pit stops end up rearranging through. That new 2nd place guy will be Tyler Mollett. So Mollett right now will probably be sitting in spot number 2, and then Kevin Thompson is not too far behind. But yes, the gap has definitely increased between them and Jonathan Jennings, but right now it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this plays out now that the green flag pit stops are down.
Yeah, remember Kevin Thompson was 2nd when he came into pit, but definitely an extended time in his box with a 15.8, and Tyler Mollett with a fantastic 14.4 seconds in his pit box. He's fastest in and fastest out of his pit box, and that's why he deserves to gain another position here. So, but he only holds it by about 0.3 of a second, as Kevin Thompson's late running Ford will kick in the gear later on here in this stint. Guarantee you, as soon as we see about 10-15 laps get laid down, Kevin Thompson's going to open her wide open. Chris Leftwich, Gary Clune here. This is good squeeze up and kind of a mashup here as we see them exiting 4 here. And I think Nicholas Atwood still got a little more to prove. I think a solid top 5 for him tonight would be fantastic for him. I know he's going to see what he can do. All right, now taking a look at Clune. Clune working on Chris Leftwich. Leftwich holding on the outside. Nicholas Atwood behind by about a car length and a half behind Clune. He decides to stick to the 11 Ford, and he's going to follow and use his draft here. So, Douglas, this is looking pretty dicey here for 4th, 5th, and 6th spot.
Yeah, it definitely is really dicey, as we actually seen a hit right there from Gary Clune to Christopher Leftwich, but they managed to keep it going. Right now, Clune to the inside, Leftwich to the outside. Who will gain the edge? It looks like it might be Clune, only because he has a little bit of draft help from Nicholas Atwood in the 19. But right there off of the right off of the corner, it looks like the 13 has a little bit more of an advantage off the corners. But when it comes to the back straightaway, the inside is where you want to be. As right now, we're seeing Gary Clune get a little bit of an edge ahead of Christopher Leftwich. But in this time, it looks like he might clear him. So Gary Clune will gain that spot, and he'll settle back into spot number 4.
Yeah, Clune has to rotate up the track to see if he can block off Christopher Leftwich. He decides to do just that, and now Nicholas Atwood runs out of the draft, and Christopher Leftwich is not going to get any decent break here, as he's back under fire again by Nicholas Atwood. Atwood rotates up. Oh, yeah. Almost looks like he gets ready to rub the 13 machine here, as Chris Leftwich having a heck of a time. Let's get back to that camera here as we were seeing how close this battle is. Right now, the 19 Pepsi machine riding closer to the bottom as we're riding along with Chris Leftwich here. No can do. Leftwich having a little blink moment here. Let's get back on his car. There he is. Boy, and this is looking to be excellent here as Chris Leftwich still outside lines. Definitely has the carry-through speed, but he has got to get in front of Nicholas Atwood as Atwood is still holding the top line. I'm sure the 13 Chevrolet would love to rotate down toward the bottom, but he is not allowing that to happen. From this battle here that we're seeing, Douglas, is this going to take a toll on somebody's tires here?
Yeah, it's definitely going to take a toll on somebody's tires if they continue running the inside line. Right now, I'm seeing Nicholas Atwood. He's running the low line, but yet he's trying to stay a little bit up in like that second groove of the inside line. Maybe can gain a little bit more tire consistency, but anywhere within the first sector or the second sector of the low lane, I would suggest not going there. More like the third lane, like right where Nicholas Atwood was, I would probably suggest maybe going towards the middle or the high lane for the first 5, maybe 10 laps, and then ride the low lane for high gear. But right now, they could have a different strategy and a different setup in place, so it's very hard to tell.
Oh yeah, Kevin Thompson still rolling here in third position. Look like he's trying to get a fresh air shot to the front nose of his 21 Ford here as he takes a look there at Tyler Mollett, giving him a mirrorful here. I would wonder if these two could work together to start sawing away at Jonathan Jennings' lead, but Kevin Thompson is not happy sitting behind the 94 machine, and he is going to drop to the bottom and lose a lot of time there. He might have to go back to the drawing board. That is not going to work. Kevin Thompson, I give it to him for trying here, as it looks like he's trying to figure out how to get around him there.
Yeah, most definitely. And right now, you said before, I have a feeling that is what Kevin Thompson is doing right now. He's trying to use Tyler Mollett as a drafting partner to maybe gain the little sectors off of Jonathan Jennings that he has right now. And with that draft, I can tell you this, the gap is right now, it is shortening. It's not shortening by a lot. Last time it was 3.7, and it's 3.6. So they are gaining ground on Jonathan Jennings, but I think they're going to have to come up with like a different solution if they really want to gain more off of that time.
Yep, trying to figure out a little something different here. Looking back out in the chat, Timmy Ray's trying to egg something on here. He said let Douglas Ross, and I think that woman, he's talking about Stella, talk about the race and let me race. That might be an idea. I do have a sim rig sitting next to me. It's starting to gather dust. I've blown on it a couple of times trying to get the dust bunnies off of it, but I know I definitely need to get back out there on the track. But I figured you guys love my beautiful voice up here, and along with Douglas Ross, as we bring to you the Back in Blue 180 here at Michigan with the Doghouse Racing League. Do want to give a fancy shout out there to Shoney's and the Next Level Racing. Definitely we will hear from them and see their commercials here in just a little bit, but not now, as the battle for second place is underway. Kevin Thompson trying to lay it to rest here as he makes a fantastic move here, moving himself into second place, and Jonathan Jennings still holding a 3.6 second lead over top of these two. I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to be able to bunch this back together and get back underway. Moving back to Daniel Wilkerson, who's under fire now by Christopher Simon. Simon now on the bottom, and now the Reese's machine is topside. Shoney's down on the bottom, and let's see how this goes, as Daniel Wilkerson loves that side-by-side racing, and it's going to be something here as Daniel Wilkerson taking a look outside, trying to see if he can hold it here as they dive into 3. Look at this, Douglas, as they take that shot. Daniel Wilkerson much higher than I would have expected here. Let's see if he tries to pull on through, as Simon might just have that position from what Wilkerson just did.
Yep, Christopher Simon right now will gain that position. As of right now, he's way below the white line, trying to find as much speed as possible. But right now, here's Wilkerson. Wilkerson right now gaining a little bit of momentum, but now losing momentum going into that corner. So right here off of the exit of 2. And it looks like Christopher Simon may have just caught the wall. That may give Wilkerson a shot to right now pass Simon for the number 7 spot.
Yeah, that he did, as we took a shot right there at the wall. He did make a clip off the edge there, and we are watching Wilkerson slide on the inside and putting Simon back in 8th place, where I believe Wilkerson enjoys him being in the rear view mirror. Let's take a little look out the back here of Wilkerson. Simon like a basketball, bouncing right back here, and he's trying to come right back at him. 27 machine down on the bottom here, trying to see if he can fight along through. Can the 27 pull? He's holding the bottom line. Man, how great he's sticking to the track here. 27 of Christopher Simon holding on to 7th here as he dives to the bottom, holding down Daniel Wilkerson up toward the top. Now, does Wilkerson stay high as he was before? He is up there on the highest line he can. And once again, this looks like a redo of the last couple laps. Wilkerson now falling back down to 8th here, looking pretty good. But oh man, taking a look back at that lead. Jennings starting to pick up the pace. 4 seconds out in front he is, as Mollett and Thompson just can't seem to work together to run down Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, definitely. And the dirty air is not going to be playing a good factor in that as well. But right now, Jonathan Jennings, yes, he is expanding his lead, and it's going to gain about 4 seconds now, as he's right now trying to pass a lap car of Bill Gentry. So he's going to gain a little bit of a draft off of Gentry just to use him as a pick, and right there Bill Gentry will go a lap down. And right now, 2 cars in front of him, there are Michael Dow and Mike Leftwich. So they'll be the next 2 victims to fall to the hard-charging Jonathan Jennings. But right now, Jennings holding on to the number 1 spot. Kevin Thompson is right now in spot number 2. Tyler Mollett is in spot number 3. Gary Clune is in spot number 4. And Nicholas Atwood will round out spot number 5.
Yeah, Richard Leclerc down by a lap here. It looks like Kevin Powell is down by a couple after that. Not looking too good for Kevin Powell. Dumont is down 6, and only 1 driver is taking it back to the garage, and that would be the 85 Chevrolet of Duke Davis. Not too bad here as we come up on lap 50. That means only 40 laps left to go in this one, still led by Jonathan Jennings. I always wonder if he just decides to let go of the wheel and close his eyes and see if he could challenge himself, as he still leads this race. Moving on back to 2nd place, where Kevin Thompson remains. Tyler Mollett sitting 3rd. Not too bad here out of our podium drivers. I expect to see another shuffle up here between these 2. But Timmy Ray out there in the chat, he says he's just joking with me about the whole racing deal. And I'm glad you're in a good mood, man. I know what it's like to lose your dad, man. It's not a good feeling. I know that's for sure. It definitely eats away at you. Let's get back up front where we see Nicholas Atwood trying to eat away at Gary Clune as he's trying to get away. Right now, the 19 machine still trying to pull. Oh, man, this is doing an excellent job here by Nicholas Atwood, gaining 5 positions, as unfortunately Chris Leftwich has lost 5 from where he originally started. And not only has Chris Leftwich lost 5 positions, so has Christopher Simon, but he's out in front of Daniel Wilkerson right now. And biggest mover of the race is Eric Warman. 10 positions gained, sitting 9th. As we hit lap 51, we're going to cut to commercial, and we'll be right back. The Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's All-American Kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of our West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. 53 laps complete here at the back in blue 180. We are now rejoining our drivers here. Kevin Thompson, Tyler Mollett, Gary Clune, and Nicholas Atwood. All four of these drivers about to clump up yet again. Right now, Clune is loose. Boy, coming out of 2 right now, that looked like Clune may have was aiming toward the inside wall. I think a little more downforce to the rear end of his car would have been helpful here. And I've got to admit, Douglas, taking a look, the Twisted Axle Racing team has got both their drivers in the top 5 right now. Andrew St. Couer couldn't be more proud to see the remainder of his team actually coming in and putting on a great show here at Michigan.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it sucks that Andrew St. Couer couldn't be here, and we definitely will probably see him next week. And speaking of next week, Patrick, you know where we're heading next week?
Seeing we're at a super speedway, we got to figure out how to slow these guys down a little bit.
We are heading road course racing next week. We are going to Watkins Glen.
Ooh. So we're going to take these guys from making lefts and give them a bus stop, make them turn right, have them shoot through the carousel. Oh, yeah, that should be a good race. Definitely, I got to make sure you're in the booth and I keep you out of the race car. I know you're going to want to be down there on the track.
Yep, I am a fan of road course racing, so it's going to be really hard to be up in the booth and watch these guys go on, so it'll be interesting.
Oh, yeah, guys, don't forget to check out Facebook for the Doghouse Racing League or go to doghouseracingle.com. You can join up with these guys. I know they run a very strict schedule and racing etiquette here. As you can see, we are 56 laps into this one. Caution free. No issues out there on the track. We've seen guys doing a little bit of spinning. We've seen guys making contact, but nobody backwards and facing the wall here. So this is excellent racing here. We are getting ready, I'm sure, to see another pit stop here and probably another 10 laps or so. Earliest pit stoppers were back on lap 29 through about 33. So we are still looking pretty good, as I'm sure we're going to heat up here in just a moment. We're probably around that lap 60 mark to 64 as we're going to see guys coming back down. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. We're taking a look. Nicholas Atwood has now moved himself up to 3rd. Mollett has lost a bunch of speed. Dude's down to 4th. Clune, after the slight slide out of 2, sitting 5th. Not too bad. As we move on, a couple of drivers who might be pretty close is Daniel Wilkerson. Looks like he's flossing around. I believe that may be the 34 of Bill Gentry. Nope, incorrect. Wrong. I'm not sure who that was down there on the bottom. Looked like a 14. We not have a 14 here, mister. All right, Daniel Wilkerson sitting 7th. Simon is 8th. Warman still up 10 positions, sitting in a comfortable 9th position. But where does Ricky Williams come into play? Williams has got to make up 2.5 seconds to reel him in, but no can do just yet, as 5 seconds is the lead for Jonathan Jennings to Kevin Thompson, and it's not looking too good for anybody to overtake him tonight unless he has a major fumble down pit road.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the only way that these other drivers can probably catch Jonathan Jennings, like you said, is if he has a mishap on pit road, but that probably is a chance that is slim to none, because Jonathan Jennings, he has been nailing everything tonight right on the hammer. He has been on a roll since lap 20 of the race.
Yeah, I mean, he's led a good bunch of these laps. If he leads, I believe, 2 more laps, he'll lead the most here, and then nobody can overtake him, even if his car just explodes. And then he ends up down and out. As we begin lap 60, less than 30 laps left to go here. This is going to be a fantastic race here so far. I've got to admit here, the back in blue 180, I thought this may have been kind of a no battle track, as we've seen sometimes at Talladega or Daytona. Sometimes you see these guys get a fantastic run. 2 or 3 drivers will kind of line up nose to tail and then take off. And that just is not the truth here tonight. A lot of guys battling back and forth, finding different routes, different angles out here on the track. Definitely making some changes down pit road. And speaking of pit road, Christopher Simon, Samia Armijo, and Justin McMahon are now working their way down pit. Right now we're seeing a couple of drivers throwing on about 4 tires and letting it rip, getting back out on the track. And I got to admit, you don't want to hang out there too long, as we saw a couple of drivers who did are now paying the price, working back down. Eric Warman, Chris Leftwich are now down pit. A couple of drivers that were originally down pit now working themselves out. Mike Samia following along Christopher Simon there, and Simon is now trying to take back off in the 27 Toyota. And with fresh tires on there, Douglas, when you're exiting pit, coming around 1 and 2, man, how is it not, you know, these cars kick sideways, go up and smack the wall?
It's definitely not really easy to maintain them, especially with the cars getting that loose. It's really just all about whether you can handle a tight race car or a loose race car. But we're seeing more looseness around here than tightness.
All right. Top 8 drivers right now, the only ones on the lead lap. Jennings, Mollett, Wilkerson, and Bonomo are down pit. We're drivers who remain out there still. Right now, Mike Leftwich, he's unfortunately down a lap. Thompson, Atwood, Clunes, and Ricky Williams. Right now, I would question if Kevin Thompson would want to stay out there longer, as he was unable to make up any ground staying out there. His best time out there on the track was a 38.78. As he crosses the line, he's turning a 39.87. So a little fresh air is helping him out here, but it is not going to do him any good if Jonathan Jennings figures out a good time. Right now, he's got to figure out how to beat a 15-second pit stall time. If Kevin Thompson only took right side tires here, this may be the call of the race. And actually, an Andrew St. Couer nod to kind of say a 2-tire call could win this race. So I'm interested to see what does this 21 Ford do. Oh yeah, he's coming on down. He's not going to waste any time. This is going to be the call of the race. I cannot wait to see what happens, as right now Kevin Thompson is still holding off about a 35-second lead over top Jonathan Jennings. He's got to be quick.
Yes, Patrick, I really do hate to break the news going on up front, but I do have, unfortunately, 2 news that I do have to share with you. One of the news is involving Christopher Leftwich. Leftwich looks like he has taken it to the garage, and he is done for the night.
Christopher Leftwich has taken it to the garage.
Yes, and the other bad news is it looks like Gary Clune got caught speeding on pit road. He is serving a black flag right now for a speeding penalty.
Whoa! Gary Clune cut down at the knees. That is going to be awful here. Now he's sitting in 14th position, now 15th as Michael Dow passes him here. And I guarantee you he's cussing this one. Now, let's move on back out there where Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Thompson. Still, Thompson trying to get up to speed here as Jonathan Jennings, Tyler Mollett now get around him, and Nicholas Atwood may have to be in his rearview mirror. Thompson has got to figure out how to capitalize on pitting 2 laps later than everybody else, but Thompson did take 4 tires. Nobody out there with any different pit strategy here tonight, as we are not gambling on a 2-tire call. A few laps left to go here, as I'm sure the drivers now are just kind of counting the miles as they charge through. Ricky Williams still leading the race here with after he pit on lap 33. He'll be coming down here momentarily, I'm sure, and then Jonathan Jennings will resume the lead and go ahead and probably take the win on this one. That is huge. Any idea what happened to Christopher Leftwich?
Yes, the same incident. I think he as well got caught speeding on pit road. He had to serve a black flag, and he must have not have wanted to serve it, so I think he took it to the garage instead of serving it.
Boy, I see 32 seconds in his pit box, and that may have been it for him. Definitely hate to see the pole winner here now all of a sudden checked out, but it shows you how mixed up Michigan can be. These drivers have no idea who's going to win every time they come out here. Sometimes when you get to a short track or you get to a road course, the guy leading or really the top 5 are the guys who sometimes remain in the top 5, but not in this case when you get super speedway racing. It is about impossible to guess who in the world is going to win one of these races.
Most definitely, and it looks like right now, I think there is only one car that was left to pit, and he is in pit right now. That is Ricky Williams. So Williams is now coming off of pit road, so that should cycle Jonathan Jennings back to the lead
by an outrageous amount. Now it's 7.5 seconds ahead. Jonathan Jennings has really been putting a clinic on here, and this is pretty wild, as we just can't seem to find out what in the world this guy is doing out here. But I guess like they ask some bodybuilders, do you do roids? And the answer is always no. you know. But it's oh, I just do push-ups, man. I don't know about all that. You just kind of wonder what in the world Jonathan Jennings is doing. This guy comes out here and says, all I do is practice, 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 gets the car set up, and then comes out here and owns the field by 8 seconds. Alone, not in the draft. So this is impressive. I would love to have seen Andrew St. Couer out here, because I'm sure B-Mac would be out there in the chat giving me an earful for what the Twisted Axle Racing team is doing. So give us a run-through of the top 10 here, Douglas.
Sure thing, not a problem. Well, Jonathan Jennings is right now currently expanding his lead. He is currently in the lead right now. Kevin Thompson will be in spot number 2. Nicholas Atwood will be in spot number 3. Tyler Mollett, actually strike that, Christopher Simon is now in spot number 4. It looks like Eric Warman will be in spot number 5. Then Daniel Wilkerson will be in spot number 6. Michael Samia will be in spot number 7. Tyler Mollett, actually strike that because it's switching up. It looks like Ricky Williams will now be in spot number 8. Stephen Bonomo will be in spot number 9. And rounding out the top 10 will be Tyler Mollett.
Yeah, well, talk about weird. Tyler Mollett looks like he may have taken it to the garage unless I've lost him completely here. I'm not sure what in the world's going on, but he looks like we may have a dropout from Tyler Mollett. And I've got to admit, I would almost say when somebody drops out like that, you kind of equate it to blown engine, in real life. Is guys are racing, having a fantastic race, doing everything they can, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're out, they're gone. So Tyler Mollett now shuffles down to 17th, and Justin McMahon and the 24 Chevrolet is now down and out. So now the garage filling up with cars. Here we go. So it looks like Duke Davis, Chris Leftwich, Justin McMahon, and Tyler Mollett, 4 drivers down to the garage. And you really want to tip your hat off to Kevin Powell for continuing to race. He has been multiple laps down and trying to see if he can charge back. But Kevin Powell sitting 16th here. It's not looking too good, but it's better than gaining nothing. We do have our eyeballs here on Daniel Wilkerson. Wilkerson trying to run down Warman here for a top 5 finish. It's looking pretty sketchy here, as we have only 20 laps left to go. And right now the Reese's machine trying to run down the 113 Mountain Dew Chevrolet here. And right now Warman getting a mirror full of him here. I don't know if Warman's going to be able to hold him off, as Wilkerson has been battling with multiple drivers here on the track, racing them nice and clean. But man, I'm sure he would love a top 5 finish.
Definitely sure he would love a top 5 finish, and that would be Eric Warman, of course. I give a big shout out to Warman for being up front here. It looks like Wilkerson is trying on the inside line to try and get past Eric Warman, but once again on the outside line, Warman had a big, humongous run coming onto the back straightaway, and it looks like Warman will regain the number 5 spot, and right behind him, following not too far behind Daniel Wilkerson, and he's back, Gary Clune. Looks like he's trying to make some noise, but he is right now a lap down because of that speeding penalty he had on pit road.
I guarantee you, Warman's tipping his hat there to Clune to get a little of that downforce off the rear end of his car, assisting him through that turn. Wilkerson still trying to see if he can run up on him here. Oh, man. Right now, Clune, excellent move there, as Wilkerson doesn't check up at all. He said either you get in front of me or you don't. Out there in the chat, Tyler Mollett saying his PC crashed. Hated to have that ruin his night here tonight in the number 94. So, like I said, PC crash, blown engine. That we'll stick with the same thing here. So that is absolutely terrible. Right now, I would love to see Tyler Mollett be able to get back out there, but right now I think Mollett is showing him maybe he's getting towed back down into his pit box, and he's going to try at it again, but I'm not sure. I'm starting to think we might have a battle here for slot number 2 starting to heat up, as Nicholas Atwood starting to turn it on, only behind by about 0.2 of a second off Kevin Thompson. Thompson still trying to hold him off here, as Jennings remains in the lead of this race.
Yeah, most definitely, and right now it looks like Kevin Thompson will gain his lead a little bit, and right now it looks like Nicholas Atwood's just trying to stay in his tire tracks right now, trying to maybe gain some draft off of him to gain a little bit more speed, to maybe get a little momentum on him. And right now I have to give credit to someone who had a rebound after a couple of spots back, And that's the guy in spot number 4. Got to give a big shout out to Christopher Simon, who right now has a big rebound going on him. And Simon's right now in spot number 4.
You know, blowing my mind right now is only 9 drivers remain on the lead lap. Christopher Simon is happy to see Daniel Wilkerson and Warman, and our first caution here of the night.
Game changer, people. Big game changer.
Who do we end up getting turned around here?
Trying to find that out now, but right now I'm not seeing anybody.
15 laps left to go in the race. Our first caution has emerged. And drivers right now are now wondering if they should take that last set of tires. That would be huge. If they're able to get a little bit of a splash of fuel, if no fuel at all. Slap fuel in this thing. Or throw a fresh pair of shoes on. And maybe try to give Jonathan Jennings out there on a set of worn tires. Boy. Eric Warman's working his way down pit. Interesting. Here it is. Warman got nudged there by Wilkerson. Boom, man, the wall. Wow. Now, I don't know if Warman's got a substantial amount of right front damage here. And if he's going to have to remain down pit road to get that thing fixed. Right now, he's sitting down there 31 seconds. Jennings not taking any gambles here. Everybody coming down pit.
I think it's definitely a good call. With the amount of laps that we have left, it's definitely a good call to take those last set of tires.
What does this mean for drivers that normally sit in a little bit later into the stint picking up speed? Somebody like Kevin Thompson, who sits back a little bit, waits for the tires to heat up, and then gun it. Is there an adjustment, that he may have to consider here before he shoots out of pit road to try to see if he can offset that 91 Chevrolet that's in front of him?
Oh, it's going to be huge, especially to those drivers who were sitting back in second, third, fourth, and fifth, because they have time to make adjustments now. Because now everybody's on an even playing field, so this could change up the game.
Oh man, oh man, oh man! We almost went the distance on this one, caution free. Jonathan Jennings' lead of about 8 seconds there has been cut down to nothing. Kevin Thompson's going to be trying to be on him like white on rice here. Nicholas Atwood will be sitting third. Christopher Simon will be fourth. Wilkerson sitting fifth, and Samia will be sixth. I know they're going to kind of keep an eye on the sky to see who was at fault for this one, for the caution, but I would say that was an iRacing incident. There were 2 guys side by side racing, battling for position, and then somebody got caught. Unfortunately, Warman is still in his pit box with 2 minutes of repairs. Let's take another look at that yellow flag as Warman and how he fared after that hit to the wall. Yeah, questionable area where he got hit here. Yeah, I can't determine whether if Wilkerson moved up on this or if somebody came down. Let's see if we can get a chase cam here. Oh, net code, baby. That solves it right there.
Gotta love the netcode.
Yeah, you see there's absolutely no touching here. My dogs know that, and now iRacing knows that. There's absolutely no touching, so let's keep this on going. 12 laps left to go, and Warman has got to be beside himself. So he had a fantastic race leading up to this point. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. As we get a nice zoom close there of the tower. Disgusting. Let's keep this going here, where we find Jonathan Jennings, who will be starting in the lead next to Kevin Thompson. Jennings elects to take top line.
Which definitely isn't a bad idea if you want to conserve tires for the first couple laps.
Yeah, a couple drivers did stay out, and they did not pit trying to get a couple laps back. Michael Dow being one of them. He now will be 10th. All right, let's get this one going. As Jennings takes off here, Thompson's going to try to run him down, and right now the playing field has been leveled. They've got to figure out how to run down Jonathan Jennings. Now single file 1 through 5. Wilkerson now on to the bottom. Looks like Samia's going to cut off in front of him. Simon about to get a boatload here of Nicholas Atwood after the net code we saw. He's going to bring it super close. Excellent move here, and check out Jonathan Jennings trying to break the draft, and that's exactly what he does. Man, able to squeeze out another 10th there as you see him break away, drop down toward the bottom, and Kevin Thompson will be playing chase. Atwood, Simon, side by side making contact. Simon into the wall. I guarantee there are a couple people out there watching Catalina not happy about that.
Yeah, most definitely. And Christopher Simon looks like he'll have to settle back into spot number 5 right now. Right now, the battle is heating up for spot number 3 between Daniel Wilkerson and Nicholas Atwood, but it looks like Wilkerson had a little bit of a slip-up going down. That's going to give Christopher Simon room to get back to the number 4 spot.
Look who's coming alive. Ricky Williams here on the bottom, sitting 6th. Looking for that top 5. Jennings still running away with this one by about 0.3 of a second. So the battle right now for 5th is what we're seeing. Simon might be in trouble as these guys are trying to slide on the outside of him. Wilkerson, huge boost to speed here as Michael Samia is looking to get into it. Number 3 Chevrolet is Samia there in the back, now splitting the sandwich here, heading right down the center. 10 machine of Ricky Williams down on the bottom, following along behind Christopher Simon. So great battles here as it looks like Kevin Thompson starting to turn off the heat. Fastest driver on the track here all night with a 38.58, and he's trying to catch up to Jonathan Jennings, but Jennings separates himself by another 0.2 of a second. Something may have happened there toward the front. I'm more concerned seeing what in the world is happening back here where Christopher Simon is almost cutting the nose off of Ricky Williams.
Yeah, Ricky Williams definitely not making it easy on Christopher Simon, and he's also not making it easy on Daniel Wilkerson, who is right now trying to get that number 5 spot. But right now, Williams is right now trying to fight it really hard, but it looks like Wilkerson will try and get that little draft help from Christopher Simon to see if he cannot clear Ricky Williams.
Car setups have to be perfect here tonight, seeing that I don't see many cars sliding around. Normally this is when guys actually turn it up just a little more and figure out the limits of the car. We are not seeing anybody sliding. Those fresh tires and those Goodyears are sticking down to the pavement perfectly now. Thompson about to catch up to Jonathan Jennings here as he rubs the paint down at the bottom. The 91 machine is getting ready to get to meet his match here as Kevin Thompson. Look how he's not letting him break away here. Jonathan Jennings is about to have to figure out what to do here as now we are looking off the back bumper here of Jonathan Jennings. What does Kevin Thompson do? He's sitting back kind of in an aerodynamic bubble here, able to remain fast, but he's got to switch it up. Dropping down to the bottom is Kevin Thompson. Now Jennings is going to go down and join him. Boy, interesting to see what Kevin Thompson might do here as he's got about 8 laps to figure it out. Now only 6, so it's chopping off. Nicholas Atwood, outside line, trying to see if he can keep Simon down toward the bottom. He's going to overtake. Ricky Williams trying to get the 2 for 1 here. Definitely we're looking at Daniel Wilkerson, who's going to have to quick take advantage. Simon all the way from 4th down to 6th here, and now he's losing even more positions. Right now, Nicholas Atwood holding the podium position here, but with 5 laps left to go at the line, Christopher Simon has got to drum up something quick.
Christopher Simon definitely has to pull a rabbit out of the hat if he wants to pass all these drivers that are right now gaining momentum on him. But it looks like Simon will have to settle back into spot number 6, and up front, it looks like Ricky Williams is trying to give Nicholas Atwood a little bit of a hey, I'm here for that number 3 spot. And we actually have a battle heating up for the number 1 spot right now. It looks like Kevin Thompson really does want it, but Jonathan Jennings is playing some really big defense right now.
Yeah, Jennings knows he's all over him here. The one with the advantage might be Kevin Thompson in the draft. Thompson needs to snug up to that 91 and see if he can rattle his cage a little bit and give a quick throwback out there for Dale Earnhardt. But, man, right now he's got to be like Davey Allison and dive to the bottom there, and he's trying to put the moves on him. A little battle side by side here as we remain under green. No problems here with 4 laps to go. Thompson not taking the line that Jonathan Jennings had, and it cost them here about another 10th. So what does Kevin Thompson do? How does he follow in the footsteps of Jonathan Jennings yet overtake him? That's going to be the big question here of the night, is can Kevin Thompson get him as we reach about 3 laps to go here at the line? Thompson, huge run here, and Jonathan Jennings going to stuff that dirty air back in the nose of that 21-4.
And Jonathan Jennings is definitely using up that outside line. I did see a couple of sparks coming from the side of his car and the wall, so I wonder if Jennings is making contact with the wall a little bit, as of right now it's giving momentum for Kevin Thompson to right now fight back.
Yeah, right now we're taking a look off Jonathan Jennings here, taking a look back to see if Kevin Thompson can get him. Thompson, closest he's been all night here for an angle. Not yet. Not yet. Jonathan Jennings holds him off. 2 laps to go. So far, so good. The 91 and the 21 here in the front. I know there's some battles going on here in the back, but right now this is the biggest shot here for Kevin Thompson. Down onto the bottom. He is going to have to check up as he dives in too deep. No can do for the Couer machine as the Caterpillar leads yet again. White flag next time by. Here we go. Can Jonathan Jennings hold him off here?
Looks like it's going to be a really, really heated battle as we are coming to the white flag. It looks like Kevin Thompson might have to pull a rabbit out of a hat if he wants to have anything for Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, right now, bad angle coming out of 4. Kevin Thompson may have to try to reel him in. He's got to use the draft. The pass between 3 and 4 is going to be all he's got left. As we head into 1 and 2, Thompson off by about a quarter of a second here. He's going to have to reel him in. Looks like that front end's dragging there on Kevin Thompson. That might be all she wrote. Jonathan Jennings now starting to lean on the gas. He is definitely looking to put this one away. Kevin Thompson with a run out of 2, and the 91 machine is going to drive away with this one. Jennings, fantastic move here as he runs to the finish line, and he has got this by 0.3 of a second as we come to the line. Jonathan Jennings wins the back in blue 180.
It looks like Kevin Thompson will be second, and it looks like Nicholas Atwood will get the 3rd and final podium position, and then Ricky Williams will finish 4th, and Christopher Simon will finish 5th.
Yeah, Daniel Wilkerson, we saw him juggling around there with the 5th position. I didn't want to count out Mike Samia, who was sitting back there in the 7th position out of all this mess. He moves himself up to 6th. Not too bad by Bonomo here. For 8th. Dude, man, this was an awesome race. Top 10 drivers on the lead lap. Everybody down a lap. Clune, if he hadn't sped down pit, would have ended up with a top 10 here tonight. I guarantee that. But really, hats off to a driver normally we don't talk about a lot is Nicholas Atwood. Fantastic move here as he's going to be looking for a top 3. We'll talk to him hopefully tonight because I have got to know, man, how he had that car cracked up tonight with the speed that he had. But Jonathan Jennings, he definitely did it tonight. This was his race to lose as he had to fend off Kevin Thompson. What an excellent race this was. Going on looking at the points here, that's going to put Jennings into the lead here. Unfortunately, that is going to mean Andrew St. Couer loses the points run, and he's going to have to really show up and put up a great show at Watkins Glen. Jennings winning this one. Thompson and Atwood 1, 2, and 3. Find your driver out there. Unfortunately, Chris Leftwich checking out of this one. And Duke Davis down in 21st position, checked out on lap 19. B-Mac was out there in the chat rooting on Kevin Thompson, and we're going to cut away real quick, try to grab our drivers, and let's have a quick chat and see how they did. All right, everybody. Third place finisher is Nicholas Atwood. What a fantastic run here tonight. 7 positions gained in your 19 Chevrolet. Talk to me about Michigan here.
Yeah, Michigan played out really well for us this week in beast mode performance. So shout out to Kenny Copla's sets and Team Watson. But Michigan played well for me all week. I knew early in the run you just kind of had to take care of your tires, pick off the positions you needed that is anybody slow, and then it was just a matter of just saving tire until you needed gas.
Man, the Doghouse Racing League really puts on fantastic amount of racing out here. We saw you get loose a couple of times, make a little contact with a couple other drivers, and not saying it was you, but man, these guys just run at a different level here. You know, what did you enjoy most about this race?
It was full throttle, full send. Nobody ever really backed down, especially during restarts. Everybody was kind of on their mojo. So it was a good race, good league. Like nobody was doing anything dirty, I feel like, but very respectable drivers that are out there.
Yeah, they definitely run super fast here, and I love to see guys who are able to push forward and to be able navigate around the track. And Michigan brings just that with the 2 and 3 wide opportunities that they bring out here. Assuming you will be here next week for Watkins Glen, how are you at road courses?
Road courses are not necessarily my strong suit. I'm definitely a super speedway 1.5 mile kind of guy, but I'll be putting in a ton of time this week to try to get prepared for it.
Alrighty, is there anybody out there you'll be trying to kind of take some tips and pointers off of?
Andrew St. Couer for sure. Kevin Thompson's usually really good, and Gary Clune. That's all of our group. So I greatly appreciate what they do and the advice they offer.
Ooh, all right, Nicholas Atwood, give me your shout-outs.
You guys up here in the booth, Beast Mode Performance, Kenny Coppola, and then my fiance for letting me do this. So I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Tell her to tune into the broadcast. I know we'll have it up on simtracksbroadcasting.com and on YouTube. She can catch plenty camera angles of you out there on the track. Congratulations on your third place finish.
Thank y'all.
All right. That looks like Douglas Ross is going to be getting caught up here with Kevin Thompson, our second place finisher. Kevin, I think he's there with Douglas. Go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Patrick, and he is here with me right now. Kevin Thompson, congratulations tonight, number 2 spot. Just a little short of the win, but it was very, very close. Tell us, how was Michigan overall?
I love the track. Great racing. Very wide. You can run 4 wide. You can run 5 wide. Other than that, the car was really good. A great set. I just wished I would have made a change that last pit stop to make my car a little loose. I was tight underneath Jennings there, and it was a great race with him side by side. And I hope everybody that was watching loved that race at the end there. Congrats to him for winning, and just move on for next week.
It definitely looked at the end of the race. It definitely looked like you had a run at Jonathan Jennings, had a possible spot to right now pass him, but it looked like that was there not enough grip in the tires? Was it like not fully gripped enough, or was it just the line overall of the racetrack that you were having problems with catching Jonathan?
I ran the bottom almost all race. It was just I needed more laps than what we got. The longer we ran, my car got a little better. It got freer at longer in the run, and I needed a little bit more room. And that one time I got underneath them, I clipped the apron and got a little loose.
It definitely looked like it was a tight and loose battle overall for you. But speaking of which, next week we are going to be doing a little change of pace. We're going from the speedways to road course racing. We're going to Watkins Glen come next week. Tell us, how are you feeling about road course racing?
I'm not a road course driver. Yeah, shooting for top 5, maybe top 10. Just stay on the track and just run my own race.
All right, it definitely looks like it's going to be a show. It's shout out time.
Yeah, shout out to my teammates at Twisted Axle, Nicholas finishing 3rd, and Gary for running a good race before he got a black flag, and waiting on Andrew get out back from vacation, and hopefully he has a good vacation. And shout out to y'all for the broadcast and Daniel for putting us on each week, and my family watches.
It's definitely going to be an interesting week next week. Kevin, once again, congratulations on second place tonight. And Patrick, I'll take it to you.
Kevin Thompson, awesome job, man. I can't wait to see what you got for us next week. All right, moving on to Jonathan Jennings, man. We've talked to this guy once, so let's go ahead and talk to him again. Jonathan Jennings in the 91 Caterpillar Chevrolet. This race was all but yours here, except the end, and I guarantee you're going to tell me one thing, that that late race caution was not what you were hoping for.
Absolutely not. I do not want to see it.
Well, it took your 8-second lead and kind of wiped it away and put Kevin Thompson in your rearview mirror a little more than a speck here, bud.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't want to see it. I knew Kevin was going to be a tough battle, but anyways, but I was just wanting to get away with a solid finish at the beginning of the night, and overachieved, I believe. So.
You and I have talked multiple times about breaking the draft, and I believe you and I even talked at one point at Pocono whether you would come down the front stretch and try to wiggle around a little bit like the Indy cars to break the draft. You did it here with Kevin Thompson following along with you, and it paid off. You were able to pick up at least a tenth of a second to get him not to follow you. You take your words back on that a little bit?
Yeah, I learned that I stay straight, they get a bigger run. And if I move to the left and then back to the right, they can't generate the run as quick. So I can kind of keep them held back a little bit. So, yeah. So I didn't plan on doing it, but it worked. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at that. The student teaches the teacher. All right, man. Well, this is awesome. You are the winner of the Back in Blue 180. You have started to really start racking up the wins here. The win tonight will sling you into the points lead. I'm sure that is no surprise to you, seeing how you lead multiple different seasons and leagues. But we head to Watkins Glen. You know, some guys are pretty rough around the edges at the road courses, but at the Glen, that's different. It kind of levels the playing field. It's a lot of favorite drivers' tracks. What do you say?
Yeah, it's more of a it's about as close to the oval type racing you're going to get with a road course. It's pretty straightforward. Most people can run it pretty good, so it's going to be a difficult one, but I like a challenge. So hopefully we come out of there with a solid finish, and hopefully have a little bit of a cushion going into Daytona, because we didn't know how those are.
Yeah, you could be in the lead and then be dead last at the end of that one. Man, we've seen how you can set up cars turning left, but I can't wait to see how you set up cars turning right as well. Jonathan Jennings, give me a shout-outs here, bud.
You guys for the broadcast, Daniel and all the admins for putting this stuff together. Our league sponsors, Shoney's and Next Level, and all my teammates for the hard work and the practice. It pays off a lot.
Oh, yeah. Elite Southern Motorsports really pays off. Working together, it definitely makes the dream work here. Unfortunately, I don't think your brother did as well. I think 13th place is as good as he got. Hopefully he's able to fix those connection issues, or what in the world he's got going on out there.
There's several of them with issues for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Powell's down. Tyler Moulette's down. You think Loud Pedal Racing might be cutting you guys down a little bit? No, I'm just kidding. All right, Jonathan Jennings, congratulations, man. I'll catch you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Douglas, man, what a race this was. And I got to admit, I know it was an ill-timed caution, but, man, that was fantastic here in the last 15 laps.
Most definitely, and definitely a caution that no one was expected to at least change up somewhat of the race.
Oh, yeah, well, there's definitely going to be a push to the end for some of the drivers to continue this season, as the charge for the season championship remains going here. Only a couple more races left to go. But thank you for joining us here at SimTrack's broadcast, and we definitely love bringing how the great racing that the Doghouse Racing League has to allow. But that's going to do it for us. Patrick Morrison here in the booth with Douglas Ross. Be well, be safe, be kind, and I'll catch you all next time.